the 5 false promises of the narcissist. Words are our tools. They come readily to us, and we much prefer them over actions, as they use so little energy. Words allow us to control you. Words allow us to gain fuel from you. All narcissists have no sense of guilt, no remorse, no conscience, and therefore we are easily able to make promises with no intention of ever keeping them. You, on the other hand, as an empathic individual, governed by your empathic traits of honesty and decency, your overriding emotional empathy means that you hate to break a promise. And we instinctively know that your adherence to this means that the effect of our broken promises is significant against you and enables us to exert control over you and draw that all-sustaining fuel. You will be familiar with the nature of the broken promises if you have danced with our kind already, but you may not know what we actually mean when we say certain supposed promises to you. If this dance is new to you, not only will you not know what is being really meant when we whisper these words to you, but you might not also realize that this promise will not even be kept. Your emotional thinking, driven by your addiction to the narcissist, will cause you to believe what is said to you. The relevant traits of being a love devotee, of honesty and decency, of compassion, of fidelity, are all hijacked by your emotional thinking to cause you to believe that when we say these things, we actually mean them. Understand that when a greater narcissist says these things to you, he or she knows that they are lying. If a lesser or mid-range narcissist says these things to you, consciously, they believe them when they say them. However, unconsciously, the narcissism is causing it to be purely a spoken act of control, to control you in that moment. And as a consequence of the narcissist's lack of accountability and sense of entitlement, we will tell you one thing in order to control you in the moment, and should it prove to be the case at a later juncture there is no purpose to be served by fulfilling that promise, then it will not be fulfilled. Indeed, promises are invariably broken, and here are 5 of the most common that you will experience. Number 1, I will always love you. This resonates the most with you because you are a love devotee. The reality is nobody can ever state, I will always love you. What they might mean is, if they were being entirely honest, my intention is to love you for always, but we never really know what is round the corner, and we do not know what might happen with regard to our relationship. And therefore, whilst I state this intention, who knows if it will actually come to pass? Not particularly romantic, is it, hearing that? And therefore the assertion of, I will always love you, whilst unrealistic, resonates far more effectively. And of course, who will utilise that to their advantage more than anybody else but our kind? And therefore, in the circumstances, the stated intention of I will always love you is a false promise. We understand that you love to hear such bold proclamations because they do appeal to you as a love devotee. Indeed, you have been conditioned as an empath to believe strongly in the concept of love. I, as the narcissist, will not always love you. In fact, I will not even begin by loving you, because I am incapable of feeling what you know to be love, since it has been denied to me as an option. I understand what love is to you, however, because I am surrounded by people telling me what it means and how it appears. in books, or on the television, on the internet, in films and advertisements. It is easy to understand what love means to you, but impossible for me as a narcissist to feel it, and therefore I can never love you. What I mean when I tell you this is that I am telling you what you want to hear, so I control you, so that you will remain with me and provide me with fuel that I crave. I am telling you that I will actually always want you, so long as you give me what I need. My desire to be with you is entirely conditional on you being under my control and furnishing me with the fuel that I need. Number 2, I will repay you. I will borrow money from you because of my sense of entitlement, since either I have none and I want yours, or I have plenty and I still want yours. If the narcissist has no money, it is needed, and therefore the narcissist wants to borrow it from you. The narcissist will of course promise to repay you in order to induce you to lend it to him in the first place. You will then have repeated promises to pay you. I'm a little short this month. I will have it for you next month. I'm due a bonus in 2 months, so I will pay you from that then. I had an emergency and had to use the money for that instead. I'm not able to work at present, but since you love me, you won't mind waiting, will you? If you really loved me, you wouldn't ask for it back. All different manifestations of control, all different manifestations of that control through deflection, through pity play, through arrogance, through future faking. Those of our kind who lack financial resources want the money for obvious reasons, but also in order to strengthen the link between them and you, for the purposes of control, so that you have reason to remain in contact with them and to allow them to trot out excuses and reasons which will eventually provoke you through exasperation, frustration, irritation, and upset. Those of our kind who have ample financial resources do not have any intention of making repayment. Instead, we use this borrowing of the money as a bridge between you and I, and as above, it is all about keeping a hook in you. When we promise to repay you, we will not do so unless it absolutely serves our purposes of control, possibly facade management over other people, to repay you. More usually, what we're telling you is that we want to create a method of ensuring that you are connected to us, that we can control you and draw fuel from you. Number 3, I won't hurt you. Of all the broken promises of the narcissist, this is perhaps the one which does the most damage. We are actually telling you this. I won't hurt you as long as you comply with what I want, namely, you subject to my control, you fulfill the prime aims of fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. When we say, I won't hurt you as long as you comply with what I want, it just so happens that we always omit the last 9 words. We regard you as our appliance, an extension of our will, and you are expected to do what we want. You are there to provide positive fuel, succumb to our demands, run around after it, say yes when we want yes and no when we want no, but you must guess which is correct. We want you obedient, compliant, and submissive. Navigate your way through this maze successfully, and you will not be hurt. Unfortunately for you, nobody is ever able to do this, because you will always have to be hurt, because we must control you, and we want our fuel. You have to be hurt, because no matter how hard you try, you will always cause a criticism which will wound us. And therefore, we have to defend ourselves by lashing out and hurting you. You have to be hurt, because there are even those of our kind, such as the greater, driven by malice, who delight in doing so. The hurt will always visit you somehow. Number 4, I will be faithful. We cannot be faithful. We need control and fuel too much. Although most of it will come from you as a primary source, for instance, much of it will also be obtained from other sources as well. And this results in our infidelity. Whether you're the intimate partner primary source, you will be cheated on, sexually, emotionally, financially, or intellectually. And if you hold the position of an intimate partner secondary source, or dirty little secret, we will still be sleeping with the wife. We will be chasing other intimate partner secondary sources or dirty little secrets. You will not be the only one, even though we have pledged fidelity to you. To some, it may be sharing long and intimate conversations. To others, it is a kiss. To others, it is sexual touching, and to others, it is full-blown sexual intercourse. Our desire for fuel combined with our massive sense of entitlement and our failure to recognise boundaries means that we will be unfaithful. Add to that our lack of accountability, our failure to feel guilt or remorse, and you stand no chance of ever ensuring that we remain faithful. We say, "I will be faithful," because we know that you want to hear it. This is most often used after we've been exposed as committing an act or acts of infidelity, and therefore our control is threatened, and we are concerned that you might leave us and thus take away a particularly potent source of fuel, especially if you're the primary source, and we have not secured a replacement for you yet. We will pledge that we will be faithful moving forward in an attempt to prevent you from causing a cessation to our supply of fuel. I will be faithful. These are empty words. We will be unfaithful within the week, maybe not even that long, just so long as uttering such a promise stops you from going. Number 5. I will change. No, I won't. Even if I could, which of course is impossible. Why should I, when there's nothing wrong with me? Everything that I do is necessary to ensure my survival and my remaining elevated and superior. Just because you and others do not like the way that I behave does not mean that I have to alter what I am. I know, however, that you love to think that we can be cured of whatever ill it is that we suffer from. You want us to become better and different. And naturally, if this means we can get you to stay, do what we want, and keep providing us with fuel, we are content to tell you that we will change. We are experts at adopting false expressions of contrition as well to accompany this empty promise. The greater narcissist is unlikely to ever suggest that they will change. The lesser, occasionally, but does not honestly see that there is anything wrong in the way that he behaves. This will be uttered most of all by the mid-range narcissist, who will utilize it as part of believing themselves to be a good person that is capable of betterment, that they can understand why you view their behavior as problematic, although of course they never accept true accountability for it, because they will blame it upon something else. The lesser sees no reason to change. The mid-ranger pays lip service to the prospect of change, to control you, often by means of preventative hoover. And if the greater is saying this, in such a rare occasion as that might occur, he is laughing at you. I will change. This vacant promise actually means I will carry on doing what I am doing, and nobody will ever stop me.